Tales from the Borderlands Episode 1 was released on November 25th of 2014. The game was developed and published by Telltale Games, which should give you an idea of what the gameplay is like. Tales from the Borderlands is a modern adventure game set in the Borderlands universe. While I always found the Borderlands universe interesting, I wouldn't say that the first-person games are excellent at delivering their plot, which left me skeptical about this game prior to its release. The game's plot is told in medias res, or in the middle of the story, with the main characters reflecting about what's already happened. This is an interesting point of view from a storytelling standpoint because each character recalls what happened slightly differently, which keeps the plot much more engaging and interesting. The game is mainly focused on two different characters, Reese, a company man for Hyperion that's attempting to move up the corporate ladder, and Fiona, who's a con artist and Pandora native. Most of Episode 1's plot is centered around a deal to sell a vault key. The plot beyond that develops well, and the game ends with a cliffhanger that makes me very interested in playing out the rest of the episodes for the game as they come out. Overall, the plot's extremely solid and is told in a fun and humorous way that keeps the game extremely entertaining from start to finish. Gameplay is exactly what you'd expect from a modern Telltale game. You're able to move your character around and inspect various things in the environment. However, most of the time you're in dialogue scenes where you're choosing the lines of dialogues for your character to say, or hitting directions for them to dodge in combat. The dialogue parts are a lot of fun because there's some pretty great lines you can have your characters say. The exploration parts are fairly lacking, with only a few parts where you can actually move and explore the environment. If you were to compare it to previous Telltale titles, this game handles much more like Wolf Among Us than it does like Walking Dead or Back to the Future, where the game is more of an interactive movie than it is being an explorable one. I find this newer style preferable to Telltale's older style because you could hit a snag looking for an item or a series of things to do and not be able to progress the story. The biggest problem with the gameplay is there isn't much of it, so if you're not interested in the plot, there's really no reason to seek this game out for its gameplay. Graphically, Tales of the Borderlands lends itself very well to Telltale's game engine. The cel-shaded look of the original games comes through as good, if not better, than it had in previous Borderlands games. There's a decent number of areas that you'll visit, and all of them look great. The game also does a great job of copying the style of the original Borderlands when it introduces characters or areas. The game's soundtrack consists of some pretty awesome licensed music, as well as a well-written original soundtrack. The music in the game fits the Borderlands style well, and is on par with any of the previous titles, which I thought had pretty good music. The voice acting in this game is also extremely good, but it should be because this game is yet another Troy Baker joint. Listening to the voices, you'll quickly notice that this game has something in common with the modern Saints Row series. The first two default voices in Saints Row for the main character, Troy Baker and Laura Bailey, are also the same two main characters in Tales from the Borderlands. There's two main reasons why someone might not like this game. If you hated Telltale games in the past, there's almost no chance this game will change your mind on the genre. If you hated the world Borderlands is set in, the gameplay probably won't be enough to draw you in, even if the plot is told much better in this game than it is in a traditional Borderlands game. Overall, I really enjoyed the plot of this game, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 episodes. That being said, the game doesn't really feel like it's evolved much from the last Telltale game that I played, which was Wolf Among Us. Gameplay-wise, you're looking at nearly an identical game, which is okay as long as Telltale is able to continue producing meaningful plot content. But it would have been nice to see somewhat of an evolution to the Telltale style of combat. Tales from the Borderlands is definitely worth checking out if you enjoy these kinds of games, or if you're a fan of the Borderlands universe.